Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us once again for our daily English news edition. I'm Daniel Cook, your host, Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. The state police made an annual presentation today of their work over the past year. The Prosecutor General and the Interior Minister used the activity to exchange some cutting remarks. Highlighting some serious recent events, the Prosecutor General expressed his concern about the delayed actions of the state police. He said, "We still have some serious cases that are unresolved, and cooperation is needed to solve them. Some serious criminal events have taken place that have contributed to public insecurity, and it is very important to investigate them quickly. This is necessary in order to show that the institutions are determined to implement the law. Criminal groups have been able to infiltrate the state offices. This is not just an Albanian problem, but it is our duty to discover these cases when criminal elements have the support of the people in power," said Mr. Llalla. He also commented on the frequent changes and movements of the judiciary police officers within the department and problems with the scientific police, who have slowed down their investigations. The Interior Minister reacted immediately to these comments, pointing out the delays in the prosecution in investigation of serious cases like the events of January 21st. He reiterated his accusations against the justice system, including the Constitutional Court, whose decisions have affected the security in the country, according to Tahiri. The Party for Justice, Integration, and Unity has now made its own proposals for the justice reform and sent them to the Venice Commission. The document was also sent to the Commission for Justice Reform, and it contains the following proposals. The PJIU asks for a guarantee of the immigrant vote, considering it to be the main pillar of its political program. The PJIU proposes additional electoral areas for immigrants. It says that foreigners who have Albanian citizenship or who live in Albania should have the right to vote. The president should be elected by the people in the event that the parliament fails 3 times to elect one with a qualified majority. The PJIU feels that the president should not be elected with 71 votes when the judges and prosecutors are elected with 84 and 93 votes, respectively. This would avoid political instability, according to the PJIU. The party feels that it is necessary to increase the qualified majority because of the possibility of achieving a 2/3 vote for changes that are not in the interest of the people, but in the interest of the political class. The Clifford Chance law office that defended OSHA in the arbitration against Dia Company has sent a letter to the Minister of Energy, Damjanjik Nuri, and the administrator of OSHA. In the letter, the lawyer Tim Schreiber denies the accusations against the Assembly Speaker, Ilir Meta, who was accused of mediating the deal between Dia and Chez. Mr. Schreiber writes that during the arbitration process, he dealt with facts and allegations that were made public by the media for political purposes, mentioning the name of the Assembly Speaker. He writes, "We had to deal with facts, allegations, and suspicions. The pertinence of lies presented by the opponent forced us to react. But contrary to what the other side alleged, after having been tipped off by our visit to the Tirana prosecutors in October of 2013, we did not make any unfounded accusations. In that light, it is regrettable that the non-public nature of the arbitration process was violated when some of our pleadings were leaked to the press for obvious political reasons. It is regrettable that some press representatives connected the name of the Honorable Speaker of the Albanian Parliament to the charge of corruption. This was certainly not justified on the basis of our submissions." The Clifford Chance Law Office declared that it had to refrain from reacting to press allegations in view of the ongoing arbitration proceedings, but it gave assurance that there is no evidence that can connect Mr. Meta with the corrupt actions of Dia. The letter is dated on January 18, 2016, and was published today, January 27th. In a recent report, the European Commission estimates that the unemployment rate among the youth of Albania increased by 1.9% in the final quarter of 2015. The youth unemployment rate remains at the painful level of 32.3%. The report highlights the agricultural sector, which generates the greatest number of jobs of any industry in Albania. The EC reports that there was a slowdown in the opening of new agricultural jobs in the last quarter. The total level of unemployment reached 17.5% at the end of the year, increasing by 0.02% in the final quarter. There are strong discrepancies between supply and demand in the labor market, and opening new jobs for the youth is especially problematic. To make things worse, the total unemployment rate is estimated to be much higher than these official figures, since not all the unemployed people are registered with the unemployment offices. There is no accurate data on employment in the agricultural sector because many employees in this industry are also unregistered. The Democratic chairman, Basha, has accused Prime Minister Rama of delaying the adoption of the justice reform. Mr. Basha said that he is ready to cooperate on the reform, but he reiterated that the Democratic Party will not allow the majority to gain control over the justice system. He says that the Prime Minister is now the only obstacle for the justice reform, as he has refused any kind of political cooperation. For this reason, Mr. Basha has accused the Prime Minister of intentionally delaying the issues on which the parties agreed in front of the internationals. While speaking today at the meeting of the Democratic Parliamentary Group, Basha made a summary of the economic situation in the country. He said that the situation is grave, and according to him, corruption is the reason. He made the statement that the government has now directed its thievery toward the concessions, which according to him are illegal. Giving assurance that the Democratic Party will cancel every corrupt concession, Basha warned of a political and legal campaign against corruption. He claimed to have the support of the citizens in this political battle, and that soon the people will have a government selected by the free vote. For about 2 years now, the right wing has been looking for a way to unify their political spectrum and create a stronger opposition force. Now the Republican Party has presented the idea of forming a right-wing confederation. But the question is, will this organization unite the parties? The chairman of the New Democratic Spirit, Bamir Topi, gave an interview for Ora News today. He said that the right-wing spectrum needs this unification. But this cannot happen with the arrogant political attitude of the past 25 years. Mr. Topi made the following statements. I have continuously repeated that the right-wing spectrum has an absolute need to change and a need to stop being divided. The fact that the Democratic Party is where it is today after 25 years is because of clinging to somewhat archaic politics that are not suitable nowadays. This kind of outdated politics allows others to govern even though they have problems with their governance. If we want to build a new model, then the new model should be allowed to act. If the old model exists within the new model, then you can tell me what product will emerge, said Bamir Topi. The head of the Republican Party, Fatmir Mediu, who came up with the idea of a right-wing confederation, says that the first step is to sit and discuss the ideas and proposals. He said, I have spoken with my colleagues of the other parties and with the stakeholders, and they are all ready to contribute. We need to sit and discuss because we all have our own ideas, and we need to sort out the most rational ones. Recently, the Democratic chairman has intensified his meetings to prepare for early elections, with focus on enlarging the opposition coalition. Still, it is unclear whether the enlargement will include the former Democrat Bamir Topi. The Minister of Finance was invited to be a guest yesterday evening on our program, Eco-Politics. He expressed his dissatisfaction with the work of the Customs Administration, admitting that there is smuggling going on, especially in cigarettes. Minister Tsani declared that the Crown Agents Company will be leaving after the conclusion of its contract. He also shared that he is not pleased with the cooperation between the tax and customs directorates, especially since the final goal is to merge the two into one institution. The minister also spoke about the private-public coordination for the collection of the value-added tax, saying that there is a lot of evasion surrounding the VAT and that it cannot be fought without technology. The Minister of Finance announced that the open national tender for the public-private partnership for VAT is expected to be solidified by the middle of February. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all of our news for this evening. Please join us again at the same time tomorrow. Thanks, and have a great night.